Hello and welcome to Velocity's Resident Billing Training. During this video, we will be discussing the basics of Velocity Billing. Throughout this video, we will discuss an overview of Velocity Billing, your responsibilities as a Prebill approver, basic information on how to send your bills to us, and how your on-site resident data is used to calculate your bills. We will walk you through the entire Prebill approval process from beginning to end, and then discuss what will happen after you've approved your Prebill. Near the end of the training, we will talk about your monthly reports package, highlighting some of the reports that you may find especially useful. And finally, we will wrap up the discussion with a breakdown of what we've discussed during the training and provide you with contact information for your account management team. Each month will have the same general steps. First, you will send your utility provider bills to Velocity when you receive them. Next, once we have all of these bills at Velocity, we will retrieve your resident data from OneSite. Then, we'll begin the process of calculating your resident charges. Once we've completed our calculations and our quality control process, we will send you a Prebill for you to review. You'll then review, make any necessary changes, and approve the Prebill for mailing. Once you've approved the Prebill, we will receive confirmation along with any changes that you requested. After this, we will mail the resident bills to the site. Finally, at the end of each month, around the 1st, your utility charges will be uploaded into the residents' ledgers. The majority of work needed to generate your resident bills is hands-off, but there are a few things that are extremely important for us to correctly bill your site. The first is your provider utility bills. Without these, we cannot generate a Prebill for you. The second thing you will need for quality billing is accurate OneSite data. Finally, we will need you to approve your Prebill. The standard time frame is 3 days for approval. If you have not approved your Prebill by this time, your OneSite will lock access to other areas until your Prebill is approved. If you are managing your utility provider bills on site, we need a copy of these bills as soon as you receive them. You can email the bills to us at residentbillinginvoices@realpage.com or fax them to us at 877-835-6249. During the billing process, one of the steps we take is to pull in your resident information. This includes lease dates, utility billing information, mailing addresses, and scheduled charges if you are using the convergent service. We don't modify this information when it comes into our system, since you control it within OneSite. If you find that information is incorrect in your Prebill, you should correct the areas in OneSite and let us know during the Prebill comment process that you've made changes. By keeping your OneSite up to date, you greatly reduce the opportunity for error in your Prebill or in your resident bills. In this next section, we will discuss the Prebill approval process. There are a total of 5 steps to complete your Prebill. Step 1 is our notification to you via email. When you receive the email, review it for important details, and then open OneSite to begin the approval process. Step 2, review the summary report for any issues or items that may need additional research. Step 3, review the detail report for issues or items that may need research. Step 4, make and review any comments that you have for this month's Prebill. And finally, in Step 5, approve your Prebill. Once we've composed your Prebill, we will send you a notification that it's ready for your review. This email will provide you with a high-level overview that you can use to save yourself additional time during the review process. We strongly recommend that you read the email, which can show you items such as the days that resident bills will be due, the billing methods that we used to calculate your bill, the provider utility bills that we're using to calculate your bills, any special notes for your property. These are usually surrounded by asterisks. The dates that we're using for your billing cycle, and any other items that we feel may be of note. Once you've reviewed this email, it's time to go into OneSite and open up the Prebill for approval. To open your Prebill, first log into OneSite. You will land on the Today page. From the Today page, click Velocity from the Product Picker dropdown. You will be presented with tabs for all of the Velocity services that you have. Click the Resident Billing tab. Next, click Approve Prebills. You will be presented with all of the prebills that you are able to approve based on your roles and rights. Click the Approve hyperlink to open your prebill. Once the prebill is open, click View Prebill Summary Report. The report will appear in a frame. We recommend that you save or print this report to make it a little bit easier to read. For our example, we've saved a copy of the summary report already, so let's take a look at it now. The Prebill Summary Report is a high-level overview of your site. When you open this report, you'll see basic information about your site in the header section. On the left, you'll see building and unit identification, along with the resident's name in the description column. Resident ledger charges show you the items that we've pulled in from your resident ledger and your scheduled charges. This includes all open charges, such as debits and credits, rent charges, and any other charges such as pet fees, garage fees, or any additional ancillary items for your site. If your site is billing only utilities and you are not including scheduled charges, all columns in this section will show as zeros. Next, the utility charges section. It shows you 6 different utility types: electricity, water, sewer, natural gas, trash, and monthly vacant cost recovery charges, along with a subtotal for these charges. If you are not billing a specific utility back to the resident, the charges in that column will show as zeros. The other charges section includes the service fee that you bill to residents, activation fees for new move-ins if you charge them, and any additional charges that may not have fit into any of the other columns. When you are working in this section, you'll want to focus on items that may potentially affect recovery first, such as zero charges. Zero charges are usually driven by one of 3 things: residents whose utility charge boxes aren't checked in their lease, residents with a zero occupancy count in their lease, especially if you're billing by occupancy, residents who moved in after the billing period, which was noted in your email. You can correct utility checkboxes and occupancy counts, but residents who moved in after the billing dates are considered valid, and they should not receive a charge for their utilities. After you've looked for zero charges, you can look for high charges. Errors in occupancy count can potentially drive incorrect high charges for residents, along with submeters that are overreading. Identifying high charges, even valid high charges, gives you the advantage on any discussions that you may have with your residents when the bills arrive. At the bottom of this list, once you've reviewed all of your resident charges, is a subtotal of all of the columns. This is an additional tool to help you decide if the dollars collected is generally within the range that you would expect for your property. The utility charge parameters and statistics section is a powerful tool in the pre-bill approval process. All of the fields in this report are important and are covered in our supplemental materials. But for the moment, let's take a quick look at some of the more important aspects of this area. The first section of note is the charge description. All of the sections of this report are divided by their utility charge type, allowing you to see how well your property is recovering for that individual utility. As you can see here, we have water, sewer, gas, and additional charges. Next, you will want to note the allocation pass-through. The allocation pass-through is 100% minus your property's common area deduction. In this example, the site is taking a 5% CAD, so the maximum that they can recover for their water charge is 95%. Moving on, let's take a look at the applicable charges to see what your utility provider dollars for the charge will be. These are your starting dollars before the common area deduction. Fortunately, you don't have to calculate the rate, which you can find here. But with the fields that we've already looked at, you could calculate your water rate if you wanted to. Next, let's take a look at the total charge amount and see what your residents were actually billed. Below this, you can find the percentage that the recovery represents of the total. As you can see, the property is recovering 93.15% of the total possible dollars. You should expect to see a small gap of about 1 to 3%, which is most often caused by residents moving in or out of their units. Finally, once you have a month of history, you can compare your use to last month to see how you did in comparison. This is a great tool to find potential issues. For example, look at the gas charge from last month to this month. This report was designed to show this exact situation. If this were your monthly Prebill report, this could be a red flag that you would definitely want to look into. In the next section, Exceptions by Unit, you can find alerts for high charges, known as the greater charge parameter, or low charges, known as the less than 1 or negative parameter. Each of these types can help you further identify charges that are exceptionally high or low. Make sure and pay attention to the charge type that you see in the blue box, since you may have different parameter levels for each charge type. Further down, you'll find the Unbilled Units section, which shows any unit that is not being billed for utilities. This includes items that are valid, such as vacant or employee units, but can also include residents who are not being charged for utilities when they should be. Finally, on the last pages, you will find the Different Billing Address field, which shows any unit where we have a different mailing address in our system than what you show in one site. These differences can cause mailing errors, so you definitely want to keep an eye out for anything in this section. You can also find expiring leases to identify units that do not have a lease cancellation or extension on them for the upcoming billing cycle. Lastly, your message board will show you all of the messages that your residents will see. You should review these messages to ensure that they are valid and should not be changed. If you want to add or remove a message, you can do so in the comments section. After reviewing the summary report, you will want to review the detail report next. The detail report covers similar information, but does so in a different way. We will discuss the basics of how to read this report and note a few items of particular interest to you. The Prebill detail report consists of 3 columns of information stacked vertically. In the first row, we have building and unit IDs, the unit's status, and the unit's square footage. Next, we have the lease ID, lease name, move-in date, and more. Note the invoice address in this column, which tells us where the bill is going to be mailed. Also, the bill method column, the last letter on the left, tells us the current status of the bill. C stands for charge, E stands for e-bill, N stands for no bill, and X stands for eviction. Eviction units still receive the bills and charges per standard requirements, but they will not receive a bill. Should the resident reconcile their eviction status with the property, these charges are calculated so that they can be posted for back payment. Finally, the third row. We have a lot of additional information, including each charge type and how it's calculated, the billing dates, usage for sub-metered charges, rates, and charge amounts. At the end of this report is a statistics page that is the same as the one in the billing statistics report. The next step is making and reviewing comments. If you've been using the reports, as we noted, by print or PDF, You can make your comments at the same time you are reviewing these reports. If not, you need to make your comments and review them before moving on. To make comments, click on the Add Edit Prebill Approval Comments field. A new window will pop up. From there, type in the unit number. This is a smart field, and it will attempt to help you find the correct unit that you're looking for. Choose a category to make comments in, and enter the comment into the comment field. Finally, save the comment. As you can see, you can review the comments in this box if you would like. Saved comments will appear immediately for you to review, edit, or delete. Once you've completed the comment adding process, click Close. There are two types of comments that are special: property and unit messages. These messages will appear on your residence bills in the message board section. Property level messages go to everyone receiving a bill. Good examples of this might be community events, maintenance notices, or general marketing opportunities. Unit level messages also appear on the message board, but only for the unit selected. The message will only appear on their bill. With these unit messages, you will need to select both the unit message option and select a unit to tag the message to. From here, you should do a final review of your comments for typos if you haven't done so already, and then select the Approve Prebill field. When you select the Approve Prebill field, you will be prompted to enter your password. Click Approve Prebill, and the approval will then be sent to Velocity. In this section, we will briefly discuss what happens after you've approved your prebill and what you should expect at the end of the month. After your site's been approved, Velocity will be notified and any changes you've requested will be made. In most cases, we understand what you need for a change, but in the rare event that we are unsure, you may receive a call from us for clarification. Finally, the bills will be sent out to your residents via mail or email. After you've completed the month closing, your charge file will upload with the resident utility charges for payment on the first of the month. Approximately 72 hours after your bills have been approved in one site, your reports package will upload. We have additional support materials for these reports, but note that the reports in this section are particularly valuable. If you have questions about your billing at the end of the month, one of the reports in this list will almost certainly answer the question for you. Next, let's discuss the final account statement and how to print the FAS on MoveOut. First, you should navigate to the Residents tab in OneSite. From there, select the Move Out option. As part of your Move Out tasks, you will assess Velocity final utility charges. This will bring up a window showing the amounts owed by the resident. Don't worry if you've just generated the bills for these residents. Velocity has a feature in place that includes this amount as part of the Move Out process. Confirm the amount and click the Post button. Complete the rest of your Move Out tasks and click the Move Out button. Once you do this, the Fast tab will appear in the resident's lease. When you are ready, you can close the resident's Fast statement and you will be able to print the summary. Finally, let's talk about retrieving resident invoices in OneSite. There will be times when you need to pull a resident's invoice because it was lost, never delivered by the post office, or possibly for eviction court. Navigate to the resident billing section of Velocity. Select the Account Lookup field. Search for the resident by name or unit and click View. Then click View next to the month of the invoice you want to see. You can now print or save the invoice for delivery. This concludes the online presentation for Velocity Resident Billing. If you have questions, please contact us through the regional contact that best fits the location for your corporate headquarters in this list. Today we covered an overview month with resident billing, what we will do for you, and what we will need from you for a great billing month. We discussed why you should send us your provider bills as soon as possible, and why you should keep your OneSite data accurate. We walked you through approving your prebill, and we discussed additional items that you will need each month outside of the prebill approval process. This concludes our training. Thank you for taking the time, and have a great day.